Hello, I'm Kathleen Crowley Denbo from Pickleball 518, and I'm here with Tom Polk from Compass Draw Tournaments. And
Hello.
hello, it's good to see you, Tom.
You too. Thank you for inviting me.
No problem. Now, Compass Draw is going to be coming to the Albany Capital District area.
Yes.
Tom, can you try to explain what the Compass Draw is in words?
Okay, so in a traditional tournament, you kind of, you might play a match, and if you win, you keep going, but if you lose, you're just out. And in a Compass Draw, it's set up so that if you lose, you're not out of the tournament, you just move to a different part of the draw. So, and they call it Compass because there's like an East bracket and a West bracket and a North bracket and a South bracket, things like that. And so what's nice about this is that it gets you to keep playing even when you lose, but it's also the other side effect of this kind of tournament format is your matches get more and more competitive, right? So if you're winning, let's say, you win your first couple of matches, you're playing other people that also won their first two matches. But conversely, let's say you lost your first two matches. In the third round, you're playing somebody else that lost their first two matches. So on balance, things tend to, you tend to gravitate towards people of your same skill level.
And I will be posting a nice video that Tom did, kind of visually showing how the Compass Draw works, and it's a great video.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Well, it's nice too. And what I do is the other interesting thing about this tournament is that it doesn't take place on one weekend or one day or one place even. Instead, players have 2 weeks to play each round. So it's kind of, so I call it a flexible tournament because then if you've got work schedules and things like that to work around, then you just work it out with your partner when you're going to play the match. And the other nice thing about it is, to make it a little more fun, we kind of keep track of your scores on the website during the first part of the tournament. And then we do a brand new draw, just like they do in the pro tournaments. So we got like number one at the top playing like number one plays number 16, and then down at the bottom, number two plays number 15, etc. And so it kind of adds a little bit more of a kind of a fun, competitive aspect to the tournament.
And how long does it take to play out?
So depending on the size, so if we have an 8 team division, then that will take the first 3 rounds take two weeks each. That's 6 weeks, plus then a potential of 6 weeks if you go all the way for the end. So it could take anywhere from, I say, 12 to 16 weeks. If you have a bigger division, it takes a little bit longer. So it's really meant, that's why I call it more of a tournament league, because it does take place over a good amount of time.
And why do you like this format so much?
Well, what I like about it is that, like I said, it's something where you get to keep playing even when you're losing. So it's more about getting a lot of matches in. You know what I'm saying? It's more about being able to meet new people. That's the other part too. Is you get to go and find other people that you would never see in the area. And then, because the website sets up your matches for you. So it's a great way to kind of see new venues, new places in the area, meet other people that you never would have been able to meet before at your skill level. And I just like the fact that you get to keep playing. I'm saying? It's not just a one and done kind of tournament. Because I've played in tournaments like that before, where you go somewhere, you play a match, and you might be waiting around for 2 or 3 hours for your next match, or you've lost to the best player there in your first round, and you're just going home. So this is more like you want to, it's more about, you want to be able to keep playing, but it still has that tournament feel where, you're kind of getting to follow the action, saying, oh, if I win my next match, then I'll play this guy next, and we might meet in the final, so it has that fun tournament aspect, but without all the downside of waiting around and things like that you get in a traditional weekend tournament.
Nice. And I imagine it's important that players and teams keep their schedule going and keep playing their matches. How important is that?
Well, absolutely, yeah. But now the good thing about that is, there's two things that I have kind of built in the system to help that happen. One is, with doubles, the rule we have is you can have use a sub for your partner. So if there's a particular match and your partner is out of town that week or whatever, and you need to schedule the match, you can bring in somebody else as long as their playing level and gender, whatever, is consistent with your division. So there's flexibility in that way. But then there's also the idea that, like I said, you only have to play the one match every 2 weeks, but then also the system itself will notify you. So there's an automated notification system that will email you. So let's say there's a week before your match is due and you haven't played yet. You get a little email saying, oh, by the way, you put to play your match against so-and-so by this date. So that also helps keep things on track. Because you're right, that this kind of tournament, because you're always waiting on the next opponent, it's, you know, you really have to keep things on schedule. But there's really no reason why not with 2 weeks per match and the flexibility and the notifications. If people are on top of contacting their opponents, then it's easy, no problem.
Well, it sounds really intriguing, and I'm hoping to jump in and play myself a bit.
Yeah, me too.
So the details are the registration starts on April 1st and
Yep.
play starts on May 1st. And I'll put the contact information and emails in the show notes so people can sign up. And I think there's pre-registration too.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
So Tom, what's your background?
Okay, so I got a PhD in computer science from the UNC Charlotte recently in 2016. I worked for IBM for many years as a usability engineer. And then I happened to be, I ran tennis, I was a tennis team captain, back in the late 90s, early 2000s. And I heard about this Compass format. And so I started the tournament just on paper, I'm saying, just with my friends on my team, and just kind of kept doing it just for fun with these group of guys. And then other people heard about it. They said, oh, we want to do that too. And then so I said, all right. And pretty soon I said, well, let me make a little website out of it. So I just made a little static, HTML page that I would post stuff on. And I was keeping track of everything on a spreadsheet. And then that got to be too much. And I have a background. I love programming, designing and things like that. And so I said, you know what, let me start building myself some tools here, database and a website. And so it kind of just evolved over time where I could get more and more things done online. Like it used to be, people have to email me scores and then I would enter them in. Now they do it themselves. Or even registration, they'd mail me a check or, whatever, and I have to go take them to the bank and everything. And now it's all done online. So it kind of combines my love of tennis and pickleball, racket sports, and programming, the kind of the problem solving fun stuff. So just a little side note, the last 3 years I've actually been, or prior to last year, I've been in Germany for 3 years. So I did some postdoc work, postdoctorate work over there at one of the universities. And I was deciding, I was looking at becoming a professor somewhere and things like that, and I looked into a few things. Then I realized this side business that I have is going pretty good, and I thought, you know what, if I give it a little more attention and add a few more features and things like that, let's focus on that. So now I'm 100% jumping into the entrepreneurial spirit here and just running these tournaments.
Oh, that sounds fun. And what percentage of your business is tennis versus pickleball?
Well, I was in the Lake Norman area, which is an area just north of Charlotte, North Carolina. I've been in tennis, like I said, for over like 20 years now. So that's still my biggest group. Like I have over 600 people per tournament in 3 tournaments that I do there per year. Now I started pickleball a few years ago there, and it's growing. It hasn't hit those numbers yet, but every year, every tournament, we get more and more people. As I'm sure you're aware, pickleball is just exploding. So some of the trick now is, do you have enough court space and things like that? And sometimes there's a little bit of friction between the tennis players and the pickleball players over who's going to use the courts and are they going to line them for pickleball and whatnot. But in terms of, because there's a lot of established tennis activities already out there, I find that pickleball is in a greater need for this kind of organization. So I'm focusing more of my energy on pickleball because I think there's just a bigger need for that right now. So I expect that to be the real growth area.
And how many pickleball tournaments do you have coming up?
Oh, let me see now. Okay, so we have spring one happening in Lake Norman area again. I have one going in Brunswick County where I live in Oak Island. Another one in the Myrtle Beach area. We got one going now, brand new in Statesville, North Carolina. And I also have a guy I'm working with who lives in San Diego. He's trying to get one going out there. And also he was from Austin, Texas. So we're going to try to get that going as well. And then you guys, right? Albany coming up. And then there might also be something going on in Wisconsin. So it's kind of like I've been contacted by different people when they hear about it. Like in this case, there's a local guy, a guy named Tom White, that's from Albany, but also I think lives in Lake Norman. So he knows about it. And then he said, hey, can we get it going up here in Albany? So a lot of it is still kind of this word of mouth. People hear about it. And then when people are looking for that kind of organization, that's when I kind of step in and say, yeah, I can do that. So that's kind of the way it's happening. It's kind of it's kind of evolving naturally right now, just by people hearing about it and trying to get the word out there.
And does the local organizer get a little pay as well?
Yeah, well, it depends. If they are looking to really be involved and run the tournaments, that's something that we're able to do. I think in this case, Tom, we're really just looking for someone to come with an organized thing, or to help get the word out and things like that. So it really depends, because I'm still going to be the one running it. I'm answering the emails and handling all the administrative things. I built tools for myself to do that, so I'm able to do that no problem. But so it really comes down to how who's kind of acting in the tournament director role. But I will say it's not like it's software that you can just go out and buy and use. It's more like it's a service that we're coming in and running tournaments in partnership with local players.
Well, I suspect word will spread and this will snowball quite nicely.
Yeah, I hope so.
What are your hopes going forward?
Yeah, no, I think that's the thing. It's funny because at one of the things that programmers do, they're problem solvers, and so as I work with this system, we see certain issues that come up, right? Challenges, like people maybe they misunderstand how to sign up for doubles with their partner or whatever. So there's like little problems that get identified, and then what's nice is I always like to find really creative or efficient ways to avoid these problems or deal with them. That's kind of what I did in my job at IBM. I was a usability engineer, so it was all about making things easier to use. So what's nice about actually being the person that's running these tournaments is I can then say, oh, you know what, I need an easier way to do this, and so then I'll build some tools for myself to say, boom, now I can do that. So that's also what keeps it interesting for me, that there's always another thing I can add. Like another thing I want to add in the future is right now the notifications are email based, but I'm looking into, a lot of people like to get texts instead. So yeah, I'd love to make it where now you have the option of getting a text about your match. So it's kind of the combining the trying to make it easier for me or anybody else to run a tournament by using technology, by adding some of these features to make it easier. That's what keeps it interesting for me.
Well, thanks a lot, Tom, and hope to see you on the court someday.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'll definitely have to come up. Things get going up there. I'll make a little trip and say hi to people, and I'll definitely bring my my equipment with me and play a few games.
Oh, that'd be great.
All right, well, thank you, Kathleen. I appreciate it.
Take care.
All right, you too.